Hey, good morning, New Me Nation. This is Justin with New Minds Enrichment, part of NewMinds.tv. Hope you're enjoying the videos. Hope you're enjoying this week. So let me kick this off. This is your moment of inspiration. I want to kick it off with a birthday shout out to my friend Janet, part of our team and just a solid rock star. Someone who has I don't know, just I admire her skills and the way that she always presumes positive intent and the way that she asks clarifying questions. I just want to give love and appreciation to Janet today, and to all of you that are out there. Man, I hope no matter where you're at in this walk of life that you're able to stop and breathe and reflect and take a moment for yourself. So, okay, let me kick this off. This has been kind of a fun but also zany roller coaster kind of a week. I'm sure you're probably in that same boat where the things that you've expected have not turned out the way that you planned or intended, excuse me. So, man, let me just quickly recap. Monday, we had a chance to talk about presuming positive intent. And just that's episode 11. If you get a chance to go check it out, there was a challenge inside there. To quickly recap, we said that we can assume positive, or I'm sorry, excuse me, we can assume, which is where we base something on no evidence, right? We all know how to spell the word assume. And then there's presume. Now, with presume, we're asking ourselves what's the most likely reasoning. We're thinking about probable reasons. So that was Monday. Check that out. And I gave the challenge that as you're looking through your Facebook feed or as you're watching the news and watching people's reaction, or even as you're working as a parent in your home with your kids, think about their actions and presume positive intent. Good morning, Sheila. Oh my gosh. I think I posted it today, and I don't know if you got it, but your son posted the most amazing socks that had toilet paper on it. I was like, man, those are some topical socks right there. So, thanks for joining us. Awesome to see you. So, just real fast, I'm recapping the week, talking about how Monday was about presuming positive intent. And then Tuesday, it took a little bit of a turn because Ben had mentioned this whole part about the Pareto principle, and that just really poured into me as a parent. And so, that's episode 12. Check that out if you haven't had a chance. Hey, morning, Kristen. So, with episode 12, for example, we had a chance to say the Pareto principle, which simply put, of all the effort that you're putting in every single day, only 20% of that is really focused on those important kind of things. And so that really translated to, okay, if I focus that 20% of effort on those important things, they actually impact about 80% of all the outcomes. So I took that on Tuesday and I asked the question, how does that apply to parenting? Man, we wake up with this huge laundry list of things to do. The school has sent agendas. The school has sent things that you have to work through. So check out episode 12 if you haven't. It was a chance to ask yourself, what is my real goal for the day? What are those important things? How do I figure out what's aligned? Hey, morning, Doug. Morning, Janet. Janet, if you missed from the very beginning, I gave you a huge birthday shout out. You were one of my heroes when it comes to presuming positive intent and asking clarifying questions. I'll just get real personal real fast. So Jen and I work together, quite a lot, and I can ramble, as you probably have noticed, and she's always so great about saying, Justin, what I hear you saying is, I just love it because she sees right into my heart and knows that I intend well, and she helps me refine those things. So Janet, happy birthday to you. You are a master of presuming positive intent. So yeah, and then yesterday I derailed the whole train and had some April Fool's fun. If you didn't check that out, check out the April Fool's video. It has everything from bad dance moves to some self-deprecating humor where we poke fun at the hamster train. So check that out if you didn't see yesterday's episode. So bringing that all into today's focus very quickly, I want to touch on that topic of presuming positive intent. That is kind of the what, and I think what is missing is the how piece. So, all right, fine, man. I love this idea of I'm not going to assume someone's going to post something on social media that makes me upset. My kids are going to say things that make me upset. And I'm going to challenge myself to take a pause and a breathe. I talked about the HALT strategy. I'm going to take a chance to pause and say, man, what is the reason this is going on? Okay, but now let me see if I can unpack it even farther, because you're at home, you're working with others, you have kids in the house, you don't have kids in the house, you're zooming into meetings. What happens is at the end of something, maybe you presume positive intent in that moment, but later you're still churning on it. Or maybe you didn't have the clarity of mind to, react at all. So, man, kudos to you for remaining silent, right? Um, so, someone has said something or an action has happened and you didn't say anything. How do you digest that? So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through the reaction pyramid. So I'm going to talk about the reaction pyramid. I'm going to share these in the notes. I tried to get it up on the screen, but I had some trouble this morning. It's very simple. So if you, if you need a piece of paper to write it down, please grab some. There's only 4 things, but it's called reaction pyramid. I'm going to walk through it. I'm going to talk about how I used it yesterday with my own kids, and then I want you guys to be able to think about how it applies to you and where you're at with your walk of life. So, okay. Hey, morning, Jonathan. All right, so let's talk about what the pyramid is. So the very top of the pyramid, yes, you know what a pyramid is. Very top of the pyramid is the action, and this is where you ask yourself, what happened, like what took place. I'll give you a second to kind of either jot that down if you want to, and again, I'll share this later in the notes. The next one is feeling, which is how did you feel? So it starts with the action, then moves into the feeling. How did you feel when that action took place? And then the next one, the third one, is the reasons. What are the possible reasons this happened? So I'll take a second if you need to jot that one down. Action, feeling, reasons. What are the possible reasons this happened? And then finally, reaction. What is an appropriate response? Okay. So again, I'm giving you a second there to jot that down. If you're watching this later, of course, you're welcome to scrub forward. Like I said, that's the pyramid. Now all these good things come from different places, but I will say I saw this used in action with one of my just a guy that I admire so much, one of my personal heroes, if you will, a teacher, an educator. We taught at the same school together. His name is Jeff Veal, and if you haven't checked him out, he's incredible. He has, of course, just knowing his personality and knowing his style and just knowing his heart, he has moved on and has become an assistant principal and has worked in the school capacity, and now he's even moved into a new capacity past that. So just an amazing leader in that field. But I watched him in action in 6th grade classroom, working with kids, talking about man, talk about a time today that you were upset or something happened. And the kids would write down, "Oh, I was pushed into a locker." That was the action. Feeling, how did you feel? Oh, okay. Man, I thought that kid was bullying me. If you've ever taught middle school or been in middle school, you know that the second somebody sneezes on your shirt or pushes you a little bit, I'm being bullied. I'm being bullied. Uh, and so, really cool chance to say, hey, all right. So write that down. There's validation in your feeling, right? How did you feel at that time? Now you see the third step comes in, which is what are the possible reasons? And he would have the kids write this down. Maybe the other kid was in a hurry. Okay. Maybe they didn't see me. Now, if you heard my message from the beginning, what's happening now is that you're beginning to presume positive intent with the reasons part. And you can still write in there, maybe I was being bullied, right? Maybe this kid doesn't like me. But those are all the reasons that are inside there. And then finally, the reaction is this part where you go, what is the appropriate response? Okay, do you yell at the kid? Do you push back? It's okay to stand up for yourself and be affirmative, right? And it's okay to say, excuse me, did you notice that you just bumped into me, right? And express that piece to the other kid. We're not asking to be pushovers, but if you are able to take that reason in mind first, maybe they were in a hurry, then your reaction is a little more appropriate. Okay, so I did say that's the pyramid. I'm going to talk about how I used it yesterday, and maybe you love this, maybe you don't. So yesterday my kids are playing, and they're, of course, we're all inside the house, all the social distancing piece, and I get this, Dad, right? And they come running in, and Dad, it's not fair. She said I couldn't go into her base, but then she came into my base, and she just said that. Okay, and so I didn't have this pyramid in front of me. I've just used it for so many years that it was easy for me to switch. Now, I'm not going to lie and say that I'm parent of the year or anything, because my knee-jerk reaction in the middle of working is typically something like, well, tell her not to make up so many rules. Uh, well, go talk to your mom. But I did not do that. Yay, to myself. I simply asked, hey, okay, so tell me what happened. Tell me what happened. Ooh, Doug just dropped something real fast, so I'll come back to the story. He said, Jeff Field and I taught at Reynolds Middle School and Prosper too. Man, isn't that dude amazing? Isn't that dude amazing? In fact, I gotta like that comment right now while I'm sitting here. There we go. Jeff, just know that I have nothing but respect for you, sir. I've always admired the way that you talk to kids and work with kids. And I don't know if you ever knew that I watched this lesson you did with him, but clearly it had an impact on my life, what now, 10 years later. So kudos, kudos, kudos. Okay, so back to the pyramid. Kid comes in. This is my kid. And goes, man, she said go in my base. I don't want to go in my base. So after I had them unpack what had happened, I said, okay, well, how did you feel? Well, it's not fair because she keeps making up these rules. And it's just really frustrating for me because we're trying to play this game and then she's making up these rules. Man, give me a thumbs up if this sounds like every day in your life here, right? So, hey, Kristen, good morning. One of my dear friends who also has 2 kids at home. So, Kristen, what we're talking about here is that a reaction pyramid. So, if you haven't seen it from the beginning, I encourage you to scrub back a little bit. But the first thing you ask is, okay, so what happened? What happened? How did you feel? It wasn't fair. Now I get to move into reasons. And so, again, just having used this so many times for so long, it just came more natural. So I just simply asked the question, well, okay, why do you think she's doing that? So let me see if I can just recap. Man, that action piece, I asked her to tell me what happened. That let her express her feelings and voice her concerns. And then I said, how did it make you feel? That was validation, okay? Because that is frustrating. And so my kid needs to know that those feelings are validated. But then simply by asking that question, why do you think she did that? It allowed her to say, and I'll try to quote verbatim here, but allowed her to say, well, every time that she starts to lose, this is her talking about her sister, every time she starts to lose, man, she makes up a new rule, and then she makes up these new rules, and then she breaks them. So she's making them up so that she can win the game. So you see, now she was able to unpack the reasons. And if it sounds like this, it is kind of presuming positive intent, if you will. She wasn't trying to break the rules to make her sister angry. She was trying to break the rules in order to win the game and stuff like that. I know it sounds like I'm slicing hairs, but the point being is unpacking that reason allowed us to move immediately into reaction. And so I said, well, what do you think would be a best step? Man, okay, so I'll paraphrase this piece, but just over a couple minutes, literally talking to the kids, a couple minutes. Yeah, right, exactly. Kristen dropped a comment and says, I know who's making up the rule. Her kids know my kids very well, so absolutely. So she knows which one of these 2 kids is guilty for the rule making and the rule breaking. But point is, after 2 minutes, we were able to come up. Actually, I misspoke. She was able to come up with and say, well, what if we decided on the rules before we began, and then we'll play for a while, and then when we take our first break, we'll talk about if we need to change any rules. But at least that way we're not stopping the game and making up rules as we go along. That was literally their response. Okay? So by using that action-reaction pyramid, I was able to take it from, okay, what's going on? How do they make you feel? What are the possible reasons? And then finally, what's the best appropriate response? Okay, like I said from the beginning of this top here, I said we're going to talk through what it is and where it came from, where I've seen it in action. I was going to talk about how it worked with the family. And then I want to see if you can take a second to apply this to your life. So I'm going to open this up a little bit with some with open-ended responses. How's that for redundancy? So either reflect at a time that you were angry, like something happened over these past couple days. That could have been something with your kids. That could have been something with work. That could have been a post that you saw from maybe a dear friend on social media that maybe you felt it was attacking. Now, maybe you said something, maybe you didn't say something, but just see if you can lock that action in. Okay, so now let's validate for a second. You're an adult. How did you feel when that action happened? When you saw that post, or your employer responded a particular way, or your kids did something that made you upset, how did you feel? Take a second to affirm that and validate that, because that's a feeling, right? Okay. So now I won't sit here and stare at you awkwardly for 3 minutes, but take as much time on this as you need to. If you need to come back later and pause it, take a second to maybe think through what is one, if not two or three or more reasons that this happened, and I want you to focus on presuming positive intent. Again, I'm going to recap, which is to assume something is when you think it happened, but you have zero proof, you have zero evidence, you have zero knowledge behind that. Presume is when you're using probability. What is the most likely, probable reason that it happened? So, I'll stop talking just for a little bit. I'm trying to think through one, two, or three different reasons that action happened while you exercise positive intent, the most probable reason. So, give you a little bit of drop in the comments if you need to. Jonathan has a post here. Thanks, Jonathan. It says it's always easier to buy into a solution when you have a hand in creating it instead of getting a parental mandate. Absolutely. And again, Jonathan, I'll say this to your comment. I simply asked what happened, how did it make you feel, what are the reasons it happened, and by doing that, she was able to create her own solution to the problem. So, yeah, that can apply to parenting, that can apply to work, so thank you so much. Ah, Sheila puts there's the rub. Presuming the positive intent instead of the negative. Okay, I'm going to keep moving, but again, of course, if you need to come back to this later and take a pause and revisit it. So now, obviously, this is a part where I'm going to end the video because you could do this all day, which is the reaction piece. So now that you've thought through the possible reasons, the most probable likely reasons, the presumption of positive intent, I'm going to keep using P words, Mr. Popper's Penguins. Now, what is the most appropriate response to that action as it came at you that you can make, right? If it was a post, if it was what your kids did. And listen, if this was in the past, if you already reacted to it, if there already was a family blow up or something like that, just forgive yourself and move on, right? That was yesterday. Wash that away, right? Grace on top of grace. Give grace to yourself, give grace to your kids. But this exercise will help you think through what about next time, right? Or how should you have responded? And heck, it may even have a chance, like you see this, and have a chance to go back and make amends or apologize. I don't know if that's needed, but just know this. That other person could have made you upset. Just forgive, okay? Forgive does not require the other person. Forgiveness is an action that comes from within. You forgive the other person regardless of their stance. Let it go, man. Let it go. Okay, so once again, I'm going to leave you on this little thought train here. I'm going to leave you with this. What is an appropriate response, or what would have been an appropriate response to that action you put at the top of the pyramid? So, action, how did it make you feel? What are the possible reasons, and what is an appropriate response or reaction? So, guys, I hope this has helped you in some way in your daily life. We love doing this here at NewMinds.tv. We are out here every hour on the hour putting out fresh content and things that you can do at home. And we hope that you're able to share these videos. If one has spoken to you as a parent, maybe you can share that with your friends that are parents. If you have watched some of the STEAM trains and that has really been some cool activities, we hope that you share those with others. If you have seen the lessons in Arabic or the lessons in Spanish and you have used those, we hope that you share those lessons now with anybody that could sit and enjoy a lesson and be immersed in the language. If you've got kids who are a little bit older and enjoy the role play aspect, check out Dungeonverse. It's tons of fun. Adam's a great narrator. If you've got younger kids in pre-K, there's a few pre-K videos that team is just so fun. Okay, all right. I'm sure I've missed some stuff, but I'll just say this as well. If you're a parent and you need to be poured into, come back at 10 o'clock or watch it, whenever you need to with a good glass of wine in the evening. Doesn't matter. Just make sure you pour into yourself and join Kristen at 10 o'clock as she does the Parent Power Hour. Aw, Sheila, you are the best. Says, thanks, Justin. There are lots of people who could benefit from this. Sheila, if you don't, man, I don't know. I'm not going to put her too much on the spot. Not only is she an incredible person, but she's an incredible mother, right? And I only know that just from watching her with her kids and interacting. And then also an incredible educator, so much that she was given a statewide award for how well she works with her kids in her classroom. So, Sheila, I hope everything's going well for you during this break. And I'm sure you're out there continuing to crush it like you always do. Stay positive, guys, and I will talk to you tomorrow. All right, bye.